Alright, so I wanted to try something a little different today, because I'm feeling sick and I don't want to show you guys my zombie-like face. To move right along, one of you reached out to me by saying, "Hi, I'm 28 years old, currently living helplessly at my mom's house. I completed my graduation in computer science in 2013. I was a good student during school, got into a good college filled with hopes and dreams. I failed to endure during college. For some reason, I started growing long hair, styling myself. I wanted to be different from the crowd. Lecturers didn't like that. They started showing hate and giving me bad grades. I became depressed. Now as I look back, my tendencies were because of low self-esteem from childhood that I carried, which made me felt worthless. And I started doing crazy things to get others' attention. I quickly turned into a laughingstock among my lecturers and friends. I didn't attend any placements. I locked myself alone. Now I'm 28. Didn't go for any job. I don't have experience. I sit in front of a computer all day. I'm a loser. I don't know what to do." So these are the 3 problems that I hope to tackle in this video/podcast. Number 1 is the notion of feeling lost and what to do thereafter. Number 2 is sensitivity to public opinion. Number 3 is how the self-esteem is currently not an ally. Now for my response to the specific situation, don't get me wrong, I don't want to give just a narrow answer. However, I want to instead give a broad enough answer to help more people that might be in a similar situation. Because I personally think a lot more people are in the same boat, dealing with the same issue. Because as millennials, it's easy to feel lost in life. And when you feel that way, the notion of an isolating journey overwhelms you. But to that, I want to say that you are not alone in this experience, as there are millions of people trying to discover themselves every day. What I'm trying to say is that feeling lost is a part of the journey that we call life. Because as human beings, we are not robots designed and engineered to know where we're gonna go next. But rather, it's a process where we figure ourselves out through experience and with time on our side. Now here's what I would do in this particular situation. If I graduated in 2013, which is 6 years ago, with a computer science degree, then I would understand that it's a highly sought after career field, and I would utilize my expensive piece of paper that costs time, money, and effort, which is the computer science degree, to get a computer science job and pursue meaningful and fulfilling hobbies on the side. So in a sense, I would have a stable income, but also pursue experiences that make life worthwhile. But you know what? That's too simple of an answer. And to even get to that point, you gotta figure out what you are passionate about. You have to determine what you are passionate about, and that's not an easy feat. Think about it. What gives your life a sense of hope? What gives your life a sense of meaning? What is it that could give you inner joy when you wake up? These are not easy questions to answer. I think Viktor Frankl said it best in his Man's Search for Meaning. Life is not primarily a quest for pleasure, as Freud believed, or a quest for power, as Alfred Adler taught, but a quest for meaning. The greatest task for any person is to find meaning in his or her life. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian Holocaust survivor who was also a psychiatrist that specialized in depression and suicide intervention. Viktor Frankl used his experiences in the concentration camps during the Holocaust to develop his theory of logotherapy, or in other words, trying to find the meaning of life. So according to Frankl, finding the meaning of our life was the greatest battle that we would ever face. And to Frankl, there were 3 possible sources in which a person can find his or her meaning of life. Number 1 is in creating a work or doing a deed that is fulfilling. Number 2 is experiencing something or someone. A quote from Viktor Frankl: "In a position of utter desolation, when man cannot express himself in positive action, when his only achievement may consist in enduring his sufferings in the right way, an honorable way. In such a position, man can, through loving contemplation of the image he carries of his beloved, achieve fulfillment. Love goes very far beyond the physical person of the beloved. It finds its deepest meaning in a spiritual being, his inner self. And number 3 is through suffering. To Frankl, suffering completely fills the human soul and the conscious mind, no matter whether the suffering is great or little, and our courage exhibited during difficult times can give suffering a sense of meaning. So as you digest all of this information, you have to determine and figure out your why and your meaning for existence. Why are you here? Do some soul searching, go to the drawing board, and determine what it is that is your why. And if you do, you will find yourself happy, competent, and satisfied, even if you work at a job that you do not necessarily enjoy. For example, if you are a cashier working a minimum wage job, you will find that you will still be grounded because of your why, and you will not feel lost or hopeless. If your why is career-oriented, then chase it. Pursue it with full effort and capacity. Try it out, take calculated risks, and go for it. However, with a word of caution, I must say that if a career is your source of happiness and peace, and a career is your why, then you have to understand that it also might not be sustainable for a variety of reasons. But off the top of my head, I can say, what if you're potentially fired from your dream career? Then what's next? Do you just give up? Is your life meaningless now? Or maybe you can't attain said career. Maybe you really want to be a doctor, but you can't attain the marks or the grades that you need to achieve that dream. Then what's next? Do you just give it all up? Or maybe an injury or an illness prevents you from even embarking upon that journey to go to be an actor or singer. So as you determine your why and you try to figure out your meaning of existence, you have to understand the risks that are involved with making a career your why. Now, I'm not out here trying to tell anyone how to live their lives, but here is my recipe to finding your why and to figuring yourself out. What I want to say to you is I want to challenge you to go explore, go experiment, seek hobbies, find a community, find a place where you can belong, develop a physical activity regimen, work out every single day, take care of your body so that your body can take care of you, and focus on self-development. Ask yourself this question: what have you always wanted to learn? Is it coding? How to play a specific instrument? What is it that you were always curious about, but you never actually pursued? Well, now is the time to really evaluate whether or not you have the time and resources to actually teach yourself. And it might even be as simple as to just go travel. Go travel to gain some perspective and to figure life out by seeing the world that you haven't seen outside of your own city. But ultimately, through all of this experimenting, what you have to determine is what is important to you. What really, genuinely matters to you. Figure out your identity. Because when you figure out your identity, then you get to know who you are. And knowing who you are is important because then you can figure out your truth and live it out. And you want to do that because when negative self-talk happens, you realize that it's all a lie and it doesn't have power over you. Are you starting to digest how all of this really ties together into figuring out your identity and determining your why? Because if you don't, then the public opinion of you can become a suffocating factor. Because if you are not grounded in your why and your identity, then you will allow people's criticisms and opinions of you to suffocate and to drown you. And that is not a way to live your one given life. And to further illustrate my point, I wanted to talk about the principle of Stoicism, and specifically the teachings from Marcus Aurelius. Now, Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor who was a follower of the Stoic philosophy. Now, you have to keep in mind that Marcus was the most powerful man in the world. He could have anything that he wanted, but what he wanted the most was his own self-development. So his focus and his energy was trying to do the right thing and not the wrong thing. So with that in mind, I want to challenge you to focus your efforts on what matters you can control. So when it comes to things such as the weather, the time, genetic-induced illness, or what people say about you, those factors are stuff that you cannot control, and as a result, you should not lose sleep over it. Instead, focus your time and energy on matters that you can actually control. So your concerns should be formatted toward a moral obligation to be a better person in your mind, body, and soul. Self-development is the key here. As Viktor Frankl says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And to wrap this all up, I just wanted to repeat myself by saying, feeling loss is a part of the process called life, but figuring out our truth can help guide us better. And once you know your truth, I want to challenge you to live out your truth. And to end this video, I wanted to quote Mr. Rogers, who said it best: "Discovering the truth about ourselves is a lifetime's work, but it's worth the effort." And with that said, I'll talk to you next time, neighbor.